dated February 12th, 2024. If we could all rise, pay our respects to the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Can we note the roll?
Noted, there is a quorum. Mr. Butler is absent and Ms. Birch is present.
Okay, thank you for filling in. Need an approval for tonight's agenda, please.
Move to approve the agenda for review.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second to approve tonight's meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next, we need an approval of the minutes of the regular meeting, November 13th, 2023.
I move to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of November 13, 2023.
I'll second.
I have a motion, I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, next we're going to move to public comment on items not on tonight's agenda. Seeing nobody, we will move on to number 7, new business. Tonight being our first meeting of the year, we go through a process of electing officers for the year. So let's start off with chairperson. Do I have any nominations?
Jim Butler.
Okay, so I have a nomination. Any others? Okay, seeing no other nomination,
Do you have support for the nominations?
do I have support?
Support.
Okay, we have a motion, we have support. Any other nominations? Seeing none, do we still need to go through?
If there are no others, you can approve it by unanimous consent.
It is approved through unanimous consent. Mr. Butler will serve as chairperson. Okay, since he is not here tonight, he will not be able to step into that role. Next, can we have a motion or nomination for vice chair?
I'll nominate Corey. Bailey.
I'll second that.
Nice. We have a motion, we have a second. Any other nominations? Anyone? Okay, seeing none, we can do the same with unanimous consent. The last one would be secretary.
I nominate Norris.
We have a nomination. Do we have a second?
Second.
Do we have any other nominations? Seeing none, we will take that under unanimous consent. Okay. Okay, next item is item B, case 23 ZBA 006, John Vidican. Did I say that right?
Close. Vidiking.
Vidican. Property is located at 880 North Baldwin Road. Property ID 04191000-012. The applicant proposes splitting the single lot into 4 lots. The lot is zoned R3 per the current layout of the parcel and the proposed dimension of the new lots. The following variances will be required for proposed lots 1, 2, 3, and 4. Number 1, minimum permitted lot width for lot 1 from 150 feet to 130 feet in the R3 district. Number 2, minimum permitted lot width for lot 2 from 150 to 130 feet in the R3 district. Number 3, maximum lot depth to width ratio for lot 2 from 3.5 to 1, required for parcels 1.01 to 10 acres to 4 to 1. Number 4, minimum permitted lot width for lot 3 from 150 feet to 130 feet in the R3 district. Number 5, maximum lot depth to width ratio for lot 3 from 3.5 to 1, required for parcels 1.01 to 10 acres to 4 to 1. And number 6, minimum permitted lot width for lot 4 from 150 feet to 60 feet in the R3 district. Is the applicant present?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. The way we are going to proceed for this and, well, actually both cases, during the business meeting, the following rules of procedure shall apply to consideration for any item on the ZBA agenda. Number 1, we're going to hear an applicant statement. Number 2, we will then open it up for public hearing. Number 3, comments and questions from the public. Number 4, close the public hearing. Number 5, building administrator's comments. Number 6, board member questions and comments. Number 7, finding of facts, Article 17, Section 17.8, variances, substandard C under standards. We will then make a motion. Number 9, board member discussion and comments, and then we will vote. I do want to just make everyone aware, during the public comments, there is a 3-minute time limit. So when we get close to the 3 minutes, we'll ask you to kind of wrap up any thoughts or things you're doing. The other thing I would remind you is all comments and questions come through the board, not directly to and from the applicant. Okay? Okay, so if the applicant is ready, we will start with the applicant's statement.
Good evening. Justin Danaskis with Danaskis Consulting Development, 900 South Lapeer, right here in the township, across the bowling alley. I do government affairs and use Chair Orion's Planning Commission. And I also have John Vinnikin, who's the applicant, Oxford Township president here. We appreciate everyone taking these variances into consideration, as John and myself and team have really been working on this for about well over a year now. It's a very unique piece. It's John's homesteaded site. I'll give you a little further details on the site in a minute. But it's a very long property that also abuts the utility corridor. And it is one parcel currently of 18 acres. And so I'm sure John's owned the property for a while and saying, okay, how best to utilize the property. So looking at the Land Divisioning Act, so by right, you're allowed, per the size of the property in history, 3 parcel splits. But looking at the property, talking with the Oakland County Road Commission, John's actually a licensed surveyor, looking at land uses, looking at the depth to width ratio on this particular property, became pretty clear that we should really kind of come up with a win-win, we believe, that works for not only, John, the neighbors, but also the township, in the sense by if we made it 4 parcels, given the feedback from the road commission by enabling us to make the drive now 60 feet wide, as well as almost meeting all the criteria per ordinance for these new lots. Instead of coming through with a condo plan or trying to put 20 homes on here, that is not the intent. As you can kind of hopefully clearly see by what's proposed, that wouldn't really work right. We're like for 4 lots. And so it's, I think, certainly keeping with this section of the township. You certainly have much more density than that in the area. And given that it does front on Baldwin Road, the road commission saying, hey, this would be in most sense for your curb cuts. We think it's very appropriate to consider these variances, given again the unique size and shape of the property, the depth, as well as kind of what's allowed by the Land Divisioning Act, and then really what, kind of common sense that we think these variances should allow to create a total of just 4 parcels. We're saying 1 variation from what we could do by right, and I think bring them more in line, and John will talk just a little bit more, and I'll turn it over on kind of uniqueness and not landlocking some of the pieces because of the drain that runs through it. So John, anything to add or context?
Yes, thank you, board members. I just wanted to let you know that yes, I did purchase this property over a year ago now. Understanding that I did some due diligence prior to purchasing it. It was a large property. I like having property myself. It's wooded. There's a perry drain that runs through it. And yes, to his point, there's a corridor on the other side. I had some interest to maybe do some more lots than what's there. The numbers just don't work out. You know, if we put a road through there, you would need, you know, the other side to have lots to pay for all the infrastructure, and it just doesn't, the numbers just don't add up. But the property did have 4 splits to it per Oakland County. So I tried to utilize that to the best way that I thought I could. I presented several options to the township over the past year, and we've been back and forth a little bit on some things, and I think this is probably the best scenario that I personally could come up with that would fit the township's requirements, except for, you know, these few variances that we're asking for.
Okay, anything else you want to add before we open it up to the public?
No, I mean, I'm just trying to make it amenable for everybody, and all my neighbors that I've talked to, they're fine with it. My immediate neighbors, I should say. And I think it'll increase, you know, the tax base for you guys. It'll help me. I'm trying to put my son through school eventually in college, and don't know how I'm gonna do that right now, but I got my own house there. It's a fixer-upper, and it needs a lot of work. So I wanna stay there and fix it and continue and move forward.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next we're gonna open up the public hearing. We will get comments and questions from the public. Again, there'll be a 3-minute limit, just because we don't want these things getting lengthy, and get up to the podium, state your name, and whatever you'd like to discuss.
I'll jump up.
Okay.
Hey, John. My name's Andrew Anderley. I live at 851 Jeffrey James in Oxford, Michigan. It's a private drive that comes off of Granger there and kind of butts up behind Mr. Vidikin's property. To his point, he was pretty forward with coming to us with some plans to the surrounding neighbors that border his property line. I wouldn't necessarily say that we were on board with it or agreed, which is why I'm here, to kind of not necessarily argue, but at least state that, you know, we purchased our property 6 years ago because of the property that it backed up to. There was an additional almost 20 acres that was behind us that was owned by one individual who I met with actually before purchasing the property. Nice old man, you know, he'd been there for years, probably 20 or 30 plus years. And, you know, his retirement was approaching, and he said, hey, I'm gonna be selling soon. Great. Well, then eventually somebody purchased and now wants to break it up into future lots. Had we have known that, we certainly wouldn't have purchased property if we knew that a house was gonna be built right on our property line. We did look into the ordinances, you know, prior to purchasing, because we didn't want to back up to a future subdivision or future homes. And with that, we saw that properties really weren't capable of being divided amongst that with the acreage that was provided and some of the ordinances that the township has. There certainly could be a couple properties divided up between that 18 acres, but I don't think that 4 is feasible based on the ordinances that are here. My wife emailed in a little bit more detail on that through email. I can't remember the woman's name that she emailed to. My wife's on international travel right now for work, so she's not able to be here. But you guys should have that within at least the board members' the documents. Her name's Erica Anderley.
Yeah,
Perfect.
Yes.
Just wanted to make sure and confirm that that was there. I don't have a large objection to you know, the gentleman trying to make something work within the ordinances that are in place for the township. I just have a little bit of an issue with it being pushed and ordinances being trying to be overturned. They're in place for a reason, I believe, within a township, and those are solidified, I think, based on the community that we're living, and they shouldn't be overturned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, board members. My name is Brett Scharnhorst. My wife and I live at 875 North Baldwin Road. We've lived there since 2019. And with all due respect to Mr. Vidican, I've never met the man before tonight. This is the first I was hearing about this plan proposal. We received a piece of paper in the mail, and that's all we heard about it. Last month's, or rather December's meeting was canceled, so we just heard it was going to be postponed until this month. The reason we bought the house we bought was because I was very struck with the view out our front door, which is beautiful, beautiful wooded area. And it's been one of the most striking advantages of being in the house we live in. I'm hearing now that we are looking at a proposal to modify these, to get these variances so that we can build additional homes across the street from our house. I'm not sure if there are plans. I do not see any sort of layout that discusses what is going to be removed, what is going to be built in its place, what the plans even are, other than just building some development. I would not be in favor of such a development because I love the view, and that's the reason why we bought the house that we did. The house we purchased was built in 1965. The house that resides on the property that Mr. Vidican owns was built in 1985, 20 years afterward. So we made a point of not making any sort of dramatic changes to the house that we're living in because we did not want to encroach on our neighbors' peace, sanctity, and what they have been living with for so many years. And I would like to feel that we would see that sort of appreciation extended to us by somebody who owns the property across the street from us. So I guess in the end, I'm not in favor of these variances. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
My name is Gay Ann, and this is my husband Kevin Guyett. We live at 901 Jeffrey James. We're next door neighbors to the Anderleys, who was up here first. And we never talked to John Vidican. We too only got a paper in the mail and talked to our neighbor regarding the split. But property division requirements and zoning ordinances were put in place for a reason. I've been a loan officer for 30 years. I have a real estate license, and I realize how variances affect appraised values and the surrounding properties. And I feel that letting a builder or anyone else put extra homes in a smaller piece of property is going to affect the property values of everybody around, lower the tax base. And so eventually everybody's gonna wanna pay lower taxes, which will affect the revenue that the township and the county is getting. So we too are with our other neighbors that we would like everyone to stay within the zoning ordinances and the property division requirements that have been put in place. Do you have anything?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
My name is Tom Bartz. I live on William Drive, a private drive, right off of Baldwin, essentially across the street from where this is proposed, just a little south. I too did not get any notice prior to this current one that was just sent out like 2 weeks ago, as far as any of the other previous variances that the gentleman was seeking. This is the first notice that I got that you guys were having any hearings at all. Okay, I've lived out here since 2002, and I've seen a lot of changes during that period of time. We live just south of the power line easement, so we have a ton of wildlife that moves through there as such. Every time I see these developments, we end up with a lot more traffic and a lot more dead deer. A lot of people are hurt, killed, or injured right in front of our house. We see it all the time, okay, because of the power line. The deer get run out and they have nowhere else to go. I do not have a problem with staying within the boundaries of the ordinances. My looks at it, and I didn't have a ton of time because of what I saw. I am a builder. I've been doing that since '96. I see 2 houses being acceptable in there per your zoning right now, but I cannot see 4 in that area. So I'm not trying to fault somebody for making a living or doing what they wish, but I think we need to stay within the confines. The other issue that I have too is the stream that runs through that property feeds into Kersley Creek, which also goes into the Clinton River underground. And I'd like to see more as far as what's going to be done to protect that from everything from, is it perked? I didn't have enough time, and I apologize for that, but if these properties have been perked, if they're going to require engineered fields, what the depth of the wells are in that area, et cetera, so forth and so on, as far as ground contamination that close to a water source which travels literally through the Clinton River, across the entire state. And other than affecting property value when we keep jamming in too many houses in a rural area, once again, that's why we bought out there. I have 5.5 acres on my property, and I have another 1.5 acres that I leased from the power line easement, which adjoins my property, so that I could have an extra horse or so forth and so on. I think this negatively would affect our property value. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, we will close the public hearing.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
do you want me to read the letter from Erica Anderley into the record?
Yes,
If
please.
She's not here. There is also a letter from the Guyets, but they were here and spoke, so you just want me to read this one?
Just the one I would
Okay.
assume is.
Okay, February 7th, 2024, regarding Zoning Board of Appeals, public hearing, petition number 23 ZBA 006, applicant John Vidican. To whom it may concern, my name is Erica Anderley. I'm an Oxford resident at 851 Jeffrey James, Oxford. I am writing to express my objection to my neighbor John Vidican in his proposal to split one parcel at 800 North Baldwin Road, Oxford, into 4 parcels. If Mr. Vidican were allowed to violate township ordinances and create 4 parcels, doing so will result in a home being built entirely too close to my property line. I do not object to Mr. Vidican splitting his property into parcels, but I do object when doing so would violate township ordinances. Specifically, I take issue with lot number 4, as he is asking for this lot to be 60 feet wide when the township ordinance requires a minimum of 150 feet. I believe this is asking too much of Oxford Township and the impacted neighbors. This is not a minor violation, but a significant deviation from Oxford Township rules, as he is asking that you allow the township ordinance to be more than half as skinny as the rules allow. Mr. Vidican is attempting to put too many new homes into an area where the rules say he cannot. There are a lot requirements for a reason, and I don't believe he should be approved for this variance. Oxford is a wonderful community. It is the last community in the area that offers both a wonderful school district and room to breathe from your neighbors. Many surrounding communities have land for purchase, such as Brandon, Lapeer, and Almont, but those cities do not compare to Oxford because they do not have the great community and school system. I personally feel that Oxford is the last community to offer the ability to purchase a good piece of land while also offering excellent amenities. I grew up in Lake Orion and chose to settle in Oxford for this reason. Oxford also offers wonderful subdivisions for those who want to be on top of their neighbors. I chose the northwest side of Oxford for the ability to have a little space. If Oxford Township starts allowing residents to split their land against zoning ordinances, then we will lose what makes Oxford so wonderful and become another Rochester or Lake Orion with small lots. I believe Mr. Vidican should be approved to split his lot into 3 parcels, which would only minimally violate township ordinances by a 20-foot ordinance violation. But his current request with lot 4 is putting too many houses into a tight space. Unfortunately, if approved, I will feel the need to move out of Oxford because I will be staring directly at a house just feet off my property line instead of looking at the beautiful trees that inspired me to move to Oxford in the first place. Please consider my opinion. I know several of our neighbors share the same opinion that I am sharing. It is not ethical to allow Mr. Vidican to change the rules when doing so will negatively impact his neighbors around him. This will have a direct negative impact to my property value. If at some point I decide to move, I will have a difficult time selling with an awkwardly placed home very close to my backyard. This home on Lot 4 will be quite visible and close to my primary bedroom, living room, kitchen, back deck, and backyard. I am asking you to please preserve what is so wonderful about Oxford and not allow this parcel to be split so recklessly. Thank you for your time and consideration and all that you do for our township. Sincerely, Erica Anderly.
All right, thank you. With that, we will close the public hearing. We will move on to building administrator's comments. We have a report from Carlisle Wardman. Do you want to speak on that a little bit, or?
I mean, I can offer a
Or do you want us to go through it?
Well, so Mateo Paslacco, Carlisle Wortman Associates, with a planning consultant for the township.
Thank you.
We did prepare the review, which you've all had, kind of citing the different variances that would be required, and some other information regarding the application and kind of the timeline under which we've gotten to this evening. I think the two biggest points of the report for your consideration is that we do observe that the lot could be split without requesting variances. And that the circumstance under which the lot's dimensions exist is not unique to other lots of that size, of that zoning in the community. So we don't necessarily consider the dimensional aspects of the lot to be unique. But I would say that that portion of the report are the two pieces of information that I think offer up an appropriate amount for the board to digest.
Okay. Thank you. What is the road front property, or the frontage right now?
Approximately 450.
So
Yes, sir.
450,
Mm-hmm.
okay. Any,
If it was split with no variances, how many lots would you have?
It would depend on the way in which you wanted to lay it out. The conversations regarding a road being installed would offer up more divisions, obviously. With approximately 450 feet, it's a little speculative to say, to be honest with you.
But if you were to do it with no variances, then you could put more than the three houses, adding more than three houses.
With a road through the
With a
lot,
road in
yes. How many is speculative, but yes, with a private road through the lot, you would be able to put additional lots in the space.
What type of road width? Is it like a private road width?
Correct.
Okay, what about the drain? How's that gonna be affected?
Well, it would need to be, the lots themselves would have to be within respect with the drain could go through a lot, but there may be an easement that's needed, and it might dictate certain dimensions for some of the lots. But the drain's kind of located in the first northeast corner of the lot, and kind of cuts through that area.
Yeah.
okay.
And there is a 66-foot wide right of way for the Perry drain. It's an existing county drain with a 66-foot wide easement. And so it does exist. The Drain Commission has full rights on that property.
Okay. But just to clarify, there is a way of splitting it without variances.
Correct.
Okay. Any other questions?
No, just a comment that, we're the zoning board of appeals, right? So we're looking at the variance. We don't have any authority on land division. Just so everyone's clear on that.
Yeah, whether there's a variance granted or not, that's not giving full permission to split the lots, it's just simply a variance. Any other building administrators' comments, any other questions? Okay. With that, we will move to number 6, board member questions and comments. And this is the time for us to kind of discuss things amongst ourselves, so it won't be a back and forth. Okay. That.
What's that? That's all.
This is
That's all. That was when they were first.
okay.
Let's ask
Just
that.
correct.
Also, they're now set up right.
So we have quite a lot of information in our packet, and one of the questions, maybe you can clarify, this right there has 11 lots on it? But this was back a while ago,
Yes, sir.
correct?
Yeah,
So this issue is done and gone, not even an
I
option.
mean, it could happen, right? But I'm not doing that today. And that's not
Yeah.
what I, it's not
Okay.
what I
Yeah,
came
you're
here
not
for.
asking
Okay.
for variance.
That was a
This is-
concept
this is
plan
just
about a
some
year
history,
ago.
right?
Gotcha,
Yeah.
okay,
Of the
And
work
that,
you
that would
did.
have to be done with a site condominium plan.
okay.
And that's one of the things, right? So if, you know, variance, right, is to get to that next step for him, right? But there's also other options for land division or whatever development he proposes, including condos or these lots or flat or something like that,
See
right?
how it affects the neighbors, how the lots can be split, basically.
But our decision here is just the variance
Just
and
the
what's
variance.
proposed. Yeah,
Right.
just proposed. Yeah. You,
Is it
maybe
correct?
the applicant will come to the podium if I have a few questions.
Yeah, we'll probably have a couple of questions.
Mr. Chair, could I ask everyone to pull their mic forward?
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, if I comment first through the chair, if you mind, if you wanna. Sure. Okay, excellent. So first, for context, so no other variants have been asked for, previous whatever, what's in the pack, I mean, some other assume is John through his due diligence and looking at what could be, put on the site through a site condominium, or is addressed by the consultant, is a private road could be put in. You can easily conform lots to the T of the letter of the ordinance. We've never come in front of this board, and we have much more homes than 4 lots. That's just for context, and we didn't want to come with a scary plan of, look, by right, here's all the houses, and look, they're gonna back up to the neighbors that have concerns. So I think, and it may look scary when you see, oh, it's 150 feet, but now you're looking for 130. I truly think John was trying to do his, best due diligence and be a, good neighbor in the sense he's looking to develop this. The setbacks for the houses, we're not asking for any of those variances. It'd be the same whether he gets a division or not, how close the house could ever be to someone else's, unless, I guess, he went for variance for that too. And so what we're trying to accomplish is leaving his house, which would leave all the area size for everyone, through the chair.
I don't
but just
know if
for
everyone's
context.
looking at the same plan, because it was submitted a couple times, so.
Yeah, we got it.
Yeah.
When they're
This
saying
is
it's in
the
the
one
back.
we're looking at, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're
but
talking-
some of the people back here, I think, might be looking at older plan.
Okay.
And so we're talking 18 acres into 4 total parcels. And yes, by the road is why we need the variance, because we have 450 feet, and to create this private drive to the existing home, which no other homes are being permitted. I mean, this home is right there. I mean, there's nothing planned for any of this. It would bring the opportunity, and there isn't any now. John doesn't have a builder. Not to speak for him, he has any plans or to build a house, but he needs to figure out something for the property. So he thought, hey, this may be more palatable. 4 total houses versus a bunch of houses, and that was kind of a manageable way to go about it, versus, again, by right, putting a bunch of homes there.
And these are not small lots either. They're good 1.5 acre lots. I mean, there's lots down this road that are a lot smaller than that.
Okay.
And would you ever consider a lesser variance than what you're proposing tonight?
I have
And-
submitted several options.
And maybe a reason why you would accept a lesser variance?
Well, the land itself has rights to 4 splits, okay? Trying to make the most of that. If I do less, it's just less everything. So, less tax base, less, lots, and the lots are gonna be probably smaller, if I gotta go through and put my own, which I've already got over a quarter mile long, 2,000 feet on my property. It just doesn't change anything really. I'm not affecting any of my neighbors to the east of me. Or to the north, there's nobody to the north, and the guy to the south of me, God, he's a really good guy, he's on board with it. Because I'm not putting a house next to him, okay, I have an access. As far as, you know, the people that live across the street, well, I can't say anything about that, there is woods there. I would plan on probably we'd have to take down some trees in the middle, you know, to put a couple houses up, but it's no different than any other development.
And I think you would consider changes, but in your, we have some great, as you guys know, some professionals here, and we work with the county with them, and we're open. It's just a matter of how deep the parcel is. So we're open. We're just kind of out of ideas versus just, all right, we'll put a private road, put a bunch of lots, I guess. If we can't get the frontage variance is really what it is. And the 60-foot wide was really so to create a nice, you know, size, you know, drive, if you will, to the entrance to the property versus, again, you just put a private road down the middle. Every kind of envision this private road down the middle and chop up the lots and call it a day. Versus saying 4, leaving his primary home and creating these other lots, but given the ordinance is the ordinance, so technically we need 150 foot of frontage, which we could easily get. A private road, you switch the road, so our frontage is no problem with any of the other lots. It's because they're all on Baldwin, which is really just creating all the issues because of the frontage and trying to create, giving per the ordinance, you know, access.
And if this piece was a regular rectangle piece, I would have enough of that road frontage to make the whore work. Just the fact that it goes like this and then jogs down and then comes over. I mean, I didn't make it, but that's how it is. So I'm just trying to make the most out of it for everybody.
And without, again, just for context, without doing a private road, creating many more lots, because that's, you don't get a variance, that's throughout, that have to be done, it sounds like, or kind of a new site plan can be submitted to do anything on the property. And again, no input, you know, your ordinances are by right, you know, you can look at it, can be done, you know, a number of ways to, you know, create stuff over there, so. The thought, even though it may look extensive with a few of these because there's a number of them, I think put in context and the size of the parcel and what's going on in the area, I think it's, you know, very consistent and more beneficial than alternative plans, but.
And according to the way the lot width is determined, my lot width, the remainder parcel 4 is 672 feet wide, not 60 feet wide. And it's only because I can't build a house in there, you gotta have the setback all the way to the front of the house, basically. So it's not like you can do anything with that property.
I guess I was looking at the 450, and if I divide that by 150, I get 3 lots, right?
But I'll only get 2.
Right. So I didn't know if that was, I know it's a unique shape to your property. It's beautiful, right? You have a drain running through. You bought it with a drain. You knew there was a drain there.
I did. But I'm not affecting the drain at all with these.
It's a challenge, is what I'm saying. It's a very unique piece of property, right?
Yeah, I've looked at it many different ways.
It's real dissimilar to other property that's around this area, right?
Yeah.
Any other questions for the applicant?
Well, I have one, so right now it's just one large piece. Because we have
18 acres, yes.
something here that has three parcels on it, that's
No.
not applicable at the moment.
No, it's just all one piece.
You just have one piece, so,
Yeah.
okay, so that is, okay. And I guess, so if you did 3 parcels at 150 each, how would that be limiting, I guess, the
Well,
use of the property?
I wouldn't be able to get the four
You
splits.
wouldn't be able to get 4 in there, okay.
Because the frontage get access back to it is
Right,
where it all,
Right.
yeah.
I just wanted to make sure there wasn't another reason to
Yeah.
do that.
No, and then it just seems, through the chair, that a private road is just the easiest. You put it down the middle and you can use that as your frontage. I mean, easily, how long is it?
It's 2,000 feet.
Yeah, So we can easily get 150 feet on that parcels and still meet the depth width ratios and other things. And, you know, obviously with respect to the drain, you can put culverts, you know, in these drains. It happens all the time. So it's not like that parcel could never be used. If you went the other route, you could see a house up there. I mean, it's not without the realm of thinking by any means, given the size of that piece up there on the northeast corner.
Yeah, but right now, with this plan, we're not touching it at all.
Any more questions? Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, so we will go through our findings of fact in Article 17, Section 17.8 variances under standards. Number 1, strict compliance with restrictions governing area, setback, frontage, height, bulk, density, or other non-use matters will unreasonably prevent the owner from using the property for a permitted purpose or will render ordinance conformity unnecessarily burdensome. Thoughts?
Well, I think that since we know that this can be accomplished without variances, I think that's not true.
Anyone else? Any other?
Well, if we don't give a variance, right, then the property can be divided in 4 more lots.
It could be.
It could be, I mean, that's up to land division, right? It's not even up to us, so.
Correct.
Right.
Or,
But in matters of this variance, it says it will unreasonably prevent the owner from using the property. I don't know that
And that's not true.
I don't know that I agree with that. Okay.
Well, you still have a regular shape to the property of the drain, right?
Yes.
Is it unnecessary burdensome to the applicant?
I know. So I don't know the shape and
So it doesn't
Right.
apply?
Okay.
the size.
All right, number 2, the variance will do substantial justice to the applicant as well as to the other property owners. I would agree that it would do substantial justice to the applicant,
But, yeah, not those property owners much.
but not to the other property owners.
well, it seems like any split of the property would, I mean, the property will be split some ways. So the applicant will have justice, but I think the property owners, the other property owners just don't want to split it all. So,
Okay.
Again, it's unique, right? And if we went to the strict compliance with the ordinance, the question is it unfair to the applicant, right? Will it do substantial justice? And we think it will, right?
I think it would do substantial justice to the applicant. Number 3, a lesser variance than requested will not give substantial relief to the applicant and will not be more consistent with justice to other property owners.
Well, since the township planner has said that this can be accomplished, 4 lots can be accomplished without variance, I think that would be true. I mean, I think that he could get substantial relief going another route.
Okay. Number 4, the need for the variance is due to the unique circumstances peculiar to the property and not generally applicable in the area or to other properties in the same zoning district.
I'd say so because of the drain,
and
the way it's laid out.
Yeah, is it really needed if it can be done another way, I think is my question.
Well, if we're looking at the variance that he's asking for, right, it is unique to the property,
Correct.
right? And it's generally not, you don't see it on other properties, it's, you know, so that's, it would apply, right?
The problem and resulting need for the variance has not been self-created by the applicant and/or the applicant's predecessors.
Yeah, that applies. I mean, he hasn't self-created, he hasn't changed anything on the property to make it self, you know,
Right.
Mhm.
created, so. But the question is it unfit for use if it's, you know, if there is no variance?
I wouldn't say it's
So,
unfit for use.
Yes, it used,
Yeah,
it just
exactly,
have to be
right.
used in a different manner.
Okay, well, with that, number 8, I'll entertain a motion, if somebody has one.
can you give it a shot?
The case 23 ZBA 006, John Whittakin applicant. The property located at 880 North Baldwin Road, property ID 0419100012. I move to deny the request for all of the variances.
So I have a motion to deny the variance, all the variances.
Mhm.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Shoot, find me the fact that.
Oh, well, you can't, see, you can't tell me to do this stuff. Don't make me do it then. In regards to adding the findings of facts and all that was presented to us this evening.
Okay. I have a modified motion. Do I still have a second? I would like a roll call vote on this.
Payne,
Yes.
Magley,
Yes.
Walters,
Yes.
Birch,
Yes.
Bailey.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, so the variance has been denied. This one. Let's see if I can find it. Okay, moving along to item C. Case 23, ZBA 007, Stacy Faircloth, applicant. Property is located at 1611 Harwood Drive. Property ID 0429276016. The applicant expanded an existing deck into their side yard. The applicant is requesting a variance from the minimum permitted side yard setback for an accessory structure decreased from 10 feet to 5 feet in the R1 district. And the same applies. We will go through an applicant statement, then we will open it up for public hearing. Comments and questions from the public. We will close the public hearing. Building administrator's comments, board member questions and comments. We will go through our finding of facts. We will make a motion. The board will discuss and vote to approve or deny the variance. Is the applicant available?
Good evening. I'm the contractor. He couldn't be here tonight.
Okay,
They purchased the house and hired me to work on the deck to restore it. It was collapsing and it was
Excuse me,
failing.
Mr. Chair, can we have him identify himself?
oh, I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry, this is the first time doing this.
Name and address, please.
Jeff Kozloff, 3292 Lakeville Road, Oxford. I own Hardscape Construction. We were hired to rebuild the deck there and make it safe again. And when they purchased the home, they found a extensive amount of mold throughout the house. And the side where the deck we had onto has a crawl space, and it's got an accessory door to get into there to service it. They had a patio there when I first started the job, and the water's coming through the patio into that hole. So it made sense for us just to raise up the deck and eliminate that problem. We built a spot on the deck to access into the panel to work on the substructure and the crawl space. That's pretty much it.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. We will open up for the public hearing, comments and questions from the public.
Good evening. Good evening. My name is Dwayne Ovenshire. Do you mind if I approach? I've got a couple of handouts.
Address too.
I'm
What's your
sorry.
address?
1621 Harwood. I live next door to Miss Fairclough. Oh, you got it. Wonderful. Okay. And I'm really, I feel really bad for Miss Fairclough. I mean, she's had a tough go of it. She bought a house. She's got a lot of money into it, and as the landscaper said, she's got extensive water damage, and I feel terrible for her. The issue that I have though is when they decided to rebuild the deck, for some unknown reason, I don't know why the contractor decided just to take it right to the property line, but right now I have a deck my lot's only 75 feet wide, and they're right on the property line. And if you look on page, I don't know if it's the right order, but if you look at there's like a retaining wall it's right on the edge of their deck.
This one?
No, I mean, you mind if I approach?
Sure.
Okay. Here's a retaining wall right here. This retaining wall is 5.5 feet high. If you look right on this page right here, here's the corner of the retaining wall. There's their deck rail.
Okay.
And the issue I have is with only, right now they're right on the property line, which we know they have to move. But if they only move it 5 feet, the house that or the lot that I have, the retaining walls were built in 1964. It had an existing little ranch on it. It was like my bachelor house. I got married and my wife decided that the bachelor house had to go, so we tore it down, built a new house on it, but it still has the old existing retaining walls. And my fear is that because these retaining walls were built in 1964, and with just a few feet from the edge of these retaining walls, when I have to have a company come in to remove that, I'm afraid that either the walls are going to collapse and cause structural damage to their deck, or I won't even be able to get a contractor to touch it, because if they look at it and say, I can't even move that wall, I mean, is it right up against the deck, I'm not going to take the risk. And then I'll be stuck with, a crumbling wall with no ability to have it repaired, and they're going to have a situation where, they're going to have, the earth moving around, like you said, they already know that they have issues with water. And if you look at some of the other illustrations, there's erosion going on underneath that deck. It's not very stable. That whole corner is kind of dicey. And like I said, I feel bad that she's got a problem like that. But why the deck builder decided just to put it right on the parking line or right on the property line baffles me. And just to move it 5 feet off the property line, if you already have to, tear up the deck to get 5 feet off the property line, just do the additional 5 feet, maintain the zone, And then it'll also give me the ability to, in the future, when I have to replace that retaining wall, we've got some material to work with. Because like I said, I won't be able to have, any way to like backfill that thing or, brace that corner. And we're creating a problem, or allowing a problem to arise. So my hope is that, like I say, it's unfortunate for Ms. Bearclaw, and I feel bad for her, but why someone would just blatantly ignore the zoning rules, especially, I have a 75-foot lot, and she's like right on top of me, So, anyway, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, quick question. Mr.
I'm sorry.
Is this retaining wall that in these pictures, is that your property?
Yes.
That's your retaining wall?
Yes, it's my retaining
Okay.
wall. And there's about maybe 1.5 feet, 2 feet, and that's why I put the arborvitaes in there, because my old neighbors, like I said, we're right on top of each other, and I asked someone like, hey, do you like looking into my windows? They're like, no, and I'm like, if I put some plants in there, what do you think? They're like, great, so.
Yeah, I get it. Okay, thank you.
So
Yeah.
the cement that's going down to the lake is on your property?
Yes, that's all my property. If you, can I go to again?
This picture here.
Yeah,
Yes.
It's like a
that
boat
one.
ramp.
No, yeah, it's actually to get my lawnmower up and down.
Is it?
It's tiered.
Okay.
If you look right here, there's another picture with the property line.
Hold on a second.
Yeah, no.
Another one?
Yeah. You can see right there. Yeah, you see the property line there, it goes right alongside.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's not it. There you go. There's the property line. You can see there's my decorative grass.
This is their house, where they concentrated, those are your bushes.
Yes.
Is this your shed?
Yeah, it's my boathouse.
Your boathouse?
No, that's their shed, I'm sorry.
It's their shed.
Yeah.
But there's another shed in this picture. That's their shed.
No.
Is that what you're saying?
No, there's another shed up here, but it's not on the picture. That's what, this shed is here.
Yeah.
It's up here, but
Right.
it's not on here. And then it says shed down here, but
Right.
that's gotta be something different.
They've got a shed between the houses too, which,
So there's a shed here,
yeah, which is right on the property line as
and
well.
then the shed in that picture here. Where?
That's,
It's
it's down
Is
here.
it down by the water?
Yeah, it's down here.
Oh, way down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sits down over close to the property line.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was.
Okay.
This is this, right?
Correct.
Yeah, that's that.
And like I said, it's just, my fear is when we have to go work on that retaining wall, that we're just not gonna have any material to work with. And like I said, I don't want their deck to, have problems again down the road, I'm trying to stay in front of it,
Okay.
Well, the original deck that was there was not. as-
No, it was flush with the house, it never came across.
If we can, just so that we get you
Oh.
picked up on the mic. from the
Sorry.
podium.
Sorry.
Yeah, no,
No, that's okay.
the original deck never extended over at all. Rick, the original owner, he talked about doing that, and the only thing that they had room for was like 1 or 2 steps, so they never did it. What they did is they had the deck flush with the house, they just had one railing open, and they had 1 step down, and they used to put their barbecue like in the dirt there.
Okay.
But like I said, then, for whatever reason, they decided just to fill that all in with deck.
So in this picture, you live on this side of the house, right? Where the deck is?
Yes.
Do you have any water problems
No.
in your soil? But they do.
Yes. I got a,
Okay.
I don't know,
We gotta get a more clear on that, what's going on.
Okay. Sure.
Just so they can pick you up.
I'm sorry, yeah, no, I don't have any water problems. My house sits a little higher,
Mhm.
and I've got a full basement, and it's a new build where they've got a house that's been added on to about 4 times on a crawl space. And the gentleman that owned it originally, Rick, he had a really bad habit of not pulling permits when he was adding onto the house. So there's a lot of, it's cobbled up.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Hello, Steve Arb, 1665 Harwood Drive. I'm 2 houses down from Dwayne. This is for a variance to build a deck?
It's already built. Yeah.
Okay,
We have them from time to time. so,
okay,
yeah.
all right. Just trying to
They
get
don't
that straight.
go over very
Yes.
well with this board.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else?
I'm still, you're accessing under the house by the deck,
Correct.
through the deck.
We have a couple more
Yeah.
questions.
Well,
If you don't mind.
let's close the public hearing first,
Yeah.
and then does anybody else want to speak, or? Okay, then we will close the public hearing, and we will move on to building administrator's comments. Is there anything you need to bring up on this, or? You've had a chance to look at it, correct?
No.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I have. I'm gonna give it back.
I walked right into that.
I just shoot from the hip, Corey. No, I'm Mateo Pasalacqua, Carlisle Warman Associates, Township Planning Consultant. The one piece of information I guess that I would like to clarify here in the meeting is based on the application materials that we were provided, we were with the understanding that the deck addition was up to 5 feet from the property line. It sounds like the statement's being made tonight that the deck goes to the property line. That should probably be clarified here and now so that what variance is granted kind of addresses that, because what is in the application is to go from 10 feet to 5 feet. And that was based on the understanding that the deck itself encroached 5 feet into the 10-foot setback, but statements being made tonight are stating that the deck is going all the way to the lot line. So that should be discussed and hashed out, but I just want to make that clarification that based on the materials we reviewed, that was our understanding.
Yeah, that's what I understood as well. Okay, thank you. Okay, now we will move to number 6, board member questions and comments.
Okay. Well, I have a question concerning the crawl space and access. She says access to the patio and crawl space.
There was an existing patio there where the deck is now.
Can we come up to the podium just
Come up here,
so it's picked up on the
Yeah.
mic here?
When we started the job, there was a patio where the deck is now. So we didn't just add a deck, there was a patio, we just raised it up off the ground into a deck to help with the water problems. Right now, the neighbor's yard all slopes into that one spot and goes into the crawl space, causing the mold issues. With the deck there, we can build the area up around there, push the water out. Make a patio there, you have to raise the patio up and fill it in, make it level. That's why I chose the option of the deck.
What about putting a drain in? Is there a drain in there?
There is drains there, but his house is 3 feet higher, so the whole spring leaches that way, and it still gets in there. They had major mold issues throughout the whole house, they just had to restore it all.
Is this the patio that you're talking about prior to the deck, or is this?
That was prior to it, yes.
Prior?
Yes.
And did you dig that up at all, or replace any of the? I mean, I'm trying to figure out, how bad is that soil, right?
It's not
Was
that
it
the soil's
saturated?
bad, it's, the water comes from his house and all beads off into that, right into the side of the
this
house.
side of the house, right?
Right.
Into the
It's like a
crawl space?
swale, like right into his.
So was there any attempt to revert or divert that swale?
Yeah, we put drains in there and drain boxes as well.
Okay.
But to get the patio out of the way, and just raise it up, makes it easier to keep the area, the stone down below it, but divert the water away.
When you say raise the patio up, what do you mean by that? Because I don't see any pictures of a raised patio.
Well, the deck is the raised patio.
So we replaced the patio
Correct.
with the deck.
Yes.
And these obviously had new footings
Yes.
put in to support all that?
Yeah, they're down 4 foot.
Does any of this reflect on the permit for the deck, or? Because like he was bringing up, the variance before us is 5 feet. This actually looks like 0 feet. What did the building official say when the permits were
There is 5 feet between the deck and the lot line. His arborvitae's there are going over on his yard 5 feet. That's where the discrepancy occurs. You may not realize that, but he's actually pushing back over with those bushes.
Okay,
That's understandable. They're nice bushes and, you know, it's not a problem. But there is 5 feet from the deck to the lot line still.
but the new footings and everything went in, is that reflected in the building permit?
Correct.
Here's the building permit.
It just shows a patio on the permit, right?
It says new deck and floor.
Oh, new deck and boards and garden.
Yeah. But why did you expand the deck?
Because the homeowner had asked to have the patio area just turn into the deck so they could use it. There was a patio there. They couldn't get up and down the stairs to use it. He's got bad knees. And he wanted to have the grill up top, so it's all one level.
So before, there was just a small deck there, or no deck at all?
Just a patio.
Oh, there was no
Steps
deck
down
at
from the deck
all?
to the patio.
Gotcha, okay.
We just raised it up, make it easy for him to access, that's all.
So is this portion of the deck, the footings and everything shown on the original building permit?
No, there's 2 permits. When this goes forward, if it proceeds, I gotta pull a new permit for this deck. They kept it separate, the permits. Because the existing deck just needs a railing permit for that one,
Okay,
not a whole new structure permit. That structure stayed.
gotcha, okay. So there isn't a permit in place for this?
No, I said if we get approved, we can apply for it and I'll go through the steps.
Okay. Any other questions from the board members? What is the shed that's shown in the picture? Because I don't see that on, this shows a shed back here in this deck, but according to,
It's right there, right next to the deck.
so there is a shed
Yeah.
Right there.
here. And I hate to ask if there were permits for that.
No, there was not.
That was before.
Okay.
I think before you bought it, there wasn't.
It was there when we bought
It's
it.
a side setback too, right?
Yeah, because that would be a side setback issue as well. But- Okay, any questions, sir?
No,
Any other board member questions?
I guess there's no picture of what you had, the house before you extended the deck over or up, or
I don't have a picture before, no. It's just patio stones on the ground, is all it was.
just patio stones over?
How long ago was this built?
The deck,
Yeah, the addition.
it's October.
yeah, October and November.
Okay.
Was one of the reasons going out farther from the house is to get better footing?
No, I wouldn't say that. It's just to avoid having steps down to the grill area. You just want more deck space.
Any more questions?
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, with that, we will move on to number 7, findings of fact.
Excuse me, can he still make another comment, or?
That part's already passed.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Okay? But thank you. Okay, so number 7, finding of facts, Article 17, 17.8 variances, standards. Number 1, strict compliance with restrictions governing area, setback, frontage, height, bulk, density, and other non-use matters will unreasonably prevent the owner from using the property for a permitted purpose or will render ordinance conformity unnecessarily burdensome. Does this apply?
I don't think it applies. For the fact that, the applicant really never explained why or how the deck contributes or even resolves the drainage issue.
Okay. Number 2, The variance will do substantial justice to the applicant as well as other property owners.
No big deal. Because it's like almost like the last one we had, it will benefit the homeowner, but not necessarily the neighbor.
Okay. Any thoughts?
Sure.
Number 3, a lesser variance than requested will not give substantial relief to the applicant and will not be more consistent with justice to other property owners.
Well, it won't give the property owner substantial relief, but it would be more consistent. Well, I'm saying that backwards, aren't I? A lesser variance would not give substantial relief to the applicant, but it would be more consistent.
Okay. Any other thoughts? Number 4, the need for the variance is due to the unique circumstances peculiar to the property and not generally applicable in the area or to other properties in the same zoning district.
I don't think there's a unique circumstances.
I don't think we have enough information from the applicant to support the deck to resolve the drainage issue, to grant the variance.
Property does have, the property would be unique in the fact that it's getting water from the neighbor running off as opposed to other neighbors probably not having that same situation. But at the same token, the deck
That serves no
Doesn't-
purpose for drainage.
yeah, doesn't have anything to do with that.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 5, the problem and resulting need for the variance has not been self-created by the applicant and or the applicant's predecessor.
I'm not sure on that one. I think it would be as a result.
I don't think it applies,
I think so either.
because it, you know,
Because if it hadn't been built, it wouldn't have needed a variance.
Right.
you know, we just didn't get enough evidence to
Yeah.
support that
This is,
the deck is actually resolving or abating the drainage issue.
that's
Right.
my question is what purpose is the deck doing to take care of the drain? I mean, is it hiding it or?
And there's alternatives to
Exactly.
drainage concerns.
Especially.
You know, I'm just gonna throw out a guess here, and I think what happened was they had to put the drain situation in, so they had to pull up the patio bricks, and now you no longer have a level field.
Right.
So, so we might as well extend the deck, and that'll make it easier anyway for the barbecue. That's my guess.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what happened there, but
You know, it's unfair now to grant them a variance or not grant them a variance for this.
we'll see. Make a
See,
motion.
right?
Anyone have a motion, number 8?
Contest.
Give it a shot. I move to deny the Oxford Township Zoning Board of Appeals case petition number 23.
I just lost it.
Here,
23 ZBA 006.
oh, I got the wrong
I
one.
got 7.
This one.
Yeah, 007.
Right
Yeah,
Thank you.
I can't find it.
there. That's
Deny the variance from the minimum permitted side yard setback for an accessory structure decreased from 10 feet to 5 feet in the R1 district, based on our findings of facts and our information that's been presented to us tonight.
Okay, so we have a motion to deny the variance.
Second.
I have a second. Any board member discussions? Seeing none, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Magley,
Yeah.
Payne,
Yes.
Birch,
Yes.
Walters,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
motion passed.
Okay. Where did my agenda just go? Where's my agenda right there?
I was have one, I was just marking on it actually. But
Okay, any final board member comments? Nothing for this evening? With that, I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved?
Second.
Moved in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
This meeting is adjourned.